Hi friends. I thought we might spend a few minutes today talking about the United Methodist Church, the denomination that we're part of. We didn't talk about this much in our recent congregational conversations because we spent our time talking about this particular church and how we want to go forward together. But we are still connected to the denomination, the United Methodist Church that includes churches from all over the world. You probably know that this church makes decisions by coming together every 4 years in a general conference. Those 4-year periods are called quadrennia, and they involve delegates from churches and conferences all over the world. That's how we do the United Methodist Church policies and decisions about big matters that sort of determine how we're going to live together as Methodists. And you know probably that in 2019 there was a specially called general conference that considered only the issue of full inclusion of LGBTQ persons, which of course we've been fighting over for decades. And that really has become the lightning rod for separating those who are more theologically traditional and those who are less so. And since then, since that 2019 General Conference, it has appeared as though the denomination is headed toward a split, with more moderate and progressive United Methodists in one camp and those who feel that the church has wandered too far from its traditional roots on the other. Those are the folks who, to our eyes, seem less inclusive than this church has believed is God's way in the world. So, since then, there was a general conference scheduled for 2020. That was the year. Generally, quadrennia run the same years and general conferences happen the same years as presidential elections. But because of COVID, the 2020 general conference didn't happen. It was postponed until fall of 2021. And then just a few months ago, the Council of Bishops acknowledged that it's not going to happen this year either because the worldwide situation because of the pandemic still makes it too dangerous for delegates to come together in one place from around the world. So that general conference has now been postponed to fall of 2022. And that's the next time that delegates will come together. So that next quadrennium that would have run from 2020 to 2024 has now just been transferred over to 2022 to 2026, right? The whole schedule has been put off for 2 years. And at that 2022 conference, the same issues will be before us. I don't know much about what's going to happen there. I don't think anybody really does, but I'll tell you what I do know. And that is that it appears that the denomination is still headed toward a split at that point. I think most people think that is the way the church, the United Methodist Church, is going to go. That it will split into a very traditional and you might say more conservative theological camp. It's called led by the Wesley Covenant Association, and then usually that signifies churches in what you think of as the more culturally conservative parts of this country and the world. The southeastern jurisdiction of the United States, it's led by, and some parts of Africa and Asia. And the more moderate and progressive parts of the church being in a separate camp, although it's possible, I think, that there may be additional splits too. We don't know exactly how that's going to come out, but that appears where we're headed. The other thing that has changed in these last couple of years, and primarily because of the pandemic, is that the church, the denomination, has far less funds, resources, than it did before. And that'll make a big difference. We're going to be a smaller denomination than we were before. There is less money to use as sort of negotiating tools in how we will separate from one another and how we will be the church together. No one knows exactly what's going to happen in 2022, but I can tell you this. However that next general conference comes out, we are part of a conference that believes in full inclusion. The California-Nevada Annual Conference of the United Methodist Church is fully committed to full inclusion of all persons. We don't have to worry about our church being separated from our conference in that way. We don't have to worry about our pastors and people we love who are gay and lesbian and transgender and bisexual being separated from their church. We don't have to worry about someone telling Los Altos United Methodist Church that it cannot be what it has always been. We will continue to be that. We will continue to be people who are deeply committed to our Wesleyan Methodist way of life. And we will continue to be connectional with other churches who are following the way of Jesus in the same way. So there's lots we don't know, but there's lots we do know. And I hope you can rest in that and know that your church is going to be there and be the same connectional, compassionate, courageous church that you have known